All right, well, welcome back for part three of the ABCD lead nurturing process. As we talked about, just in general, what is the ABCD checklist all about? It starts with the appointment, set an appointment. How do you get those appointments set? Well, it's the B, C, and the D. You have to first think, how do you build rapport? We talked about that. Then it's the C, you collect the client's information. Well, when we talk about collecting the client's information, it has to be done in a certain fashion, and that's where the script comes in. And then, of course, the D is the drip campaign. You have to determine whether someone you can work with now or in the future or even at all. Now, when you get really good at what you do and you have enough leads coming in and you've gotten pretty good at your conversion rates, then you can start disqualifying people. I don't recommend you do that from the beginning because you need to learn how to overcome as many objections as you can. Once you've learned how to deal with these objections and you decide you don't want to work with certain people in spite of the fact that you can overcome that objection, then it's your choice. But if you don't know how to overcome the objection, then keep working at it until you do. Otherwise, you're just kind of giving up. You're not really making a decision. You're just quitting. So that's a big difference. So wait until you kind of understand, how to overcome objections. And of course, if someone's being disrespectful, that's a different story altogether. But learn how to overcome as many objections as you can and solve as many problems as you can before you decide to start disqualifying certain clients. And of course, at that point, you'll probably be making enough money, so that decision is kind of made for you. You know that you sell higher end homes, you're going to make a little bit more money. And if someone comes along and is giving you a hard time, you don't have to deal with them. At that point, it's usually a great time to, send them for someone who's willing to do the referral work. But with that, how do you find ways to qualify or disqualify people? Yeah, with the script. Pretty simple. When the buyers, it's one set of questions. With the sellers, a little different, but the process is exactly the same. When a seller calls, and that's what you want to be able to get the phone number to call them or they call you, and you say, "How may I help?" So I understand you are considering selling your house. Is that right? If they've been calling you, obviously that's what they're expecting to hear. If you're calling them, then you might have to take a little bit different approach. But the first thing you want to ask them is if they're working with a real estate agent. Sometimes they're just shopping around. So again, might be a place where you say, are you committed to a real estate agent? And if they say, I'm not too sure, then you just let them know, well, we don't like to step on any toes as a professional courtesy. So if they're not taking care of you, let us know, and we'd be happy to help. But otherwise, they can do anything that I can do for you. If they say no, then say, seriously, no realtors have attacked you, trying to get you to list your home. You're trying to be funny if you can. If not, then don't. But you kind of want to give them the impression that, hey, I know there's tons of realtors out there trying to get your business, and I'm glad you called me instead. So great. Now you can tell people you are working with me. I'm pretty sure I can help you out. So you can focus on your family and work and relax while I focus on the headache of marketing, showing your home, and trying to figure out if the buyers are qualified before they come in. Is that fair? So again, you're almost talking the services you're going to do for them before they even get started in the conversation. Has anyone explained the home selling process and offered to do a free market analysis for you? Nope, they haven't done that yet. All right, well, great. Then do you have a few minutes? Then if they say yes, I have a few minutes, then guess what? You pretty much have the green light to start talking, and you take your time and have a relaxed conversation. If they say they don't have, if you ask that question and they say no, typically what they're going to say is, "Can you call me back at a different time?" And I think it's funny when I train people to use these scripts, they get into the language to the point where they're like, "I feel like I'm reading this to people," and I have to laugh because I'm like, "Well, the only way you feel like you're reading it to them is because you've never read it before." So if I give them a homework assignment to go and practice this in the mirror, and they don't practice it and they come back and say when they're on the phone, or we do it in role play when they come back to the training, then I'm kind of going, well, it sounds like it's the first time you've ever looked at this, because if you actually had the role play before, you can tell because you see certain things that just aren't comfortable for you to speak or say, because this is my language, this is the way I speak. And so to me it makes sense because I know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it, whereas other people have to go through this script, look it over, say it out loud. You have to say this thing probably 10 times out loud, and then say it in front of someone after you get comfortable with it yourself, and then let them kind of go, well, what do you mean by that? And that's going to generate the kind of questions that make you think, you know what, I don't know exactly what I mean by that. That's when you would come back to me and ask me questions. Or it's going to make you think about how you would say this so it makes more sense to the people you're talking to. But that's the key to this whole thing. Once you learn it, you make it your own. But do you have a few minutes has been the way to change an entire conversation. It gives you permission to actually talk to this person, and it alerts them that you need their full attention. So if you're not doing that, I can guarantee you that's the first reason why you're not having much success setting appointments with people. But once you do that, say, great, let me get your property address and a good email for you. Now you should have some of that information already, but if you don't, then make sure you get it and let them know, hey, I'm going to send you, and it may be better to start that part of the conversation saying, hey, I need to send you an estimate on your home, so let me make sure I got a good email for you, and then find out what your property address is so I can make sure it's the right home. So I might start that conversation or that part of the line with, I want to send you your home estimate, so let me get a proper address for you and a good email. And then you say, okay, and so your name is this, this, and this, and you should have some of this information already, especially if you've gotten their phone number. And the best number to reach you is this the best number to reach you? Okay, so when you list with me, I'm allowed to help you locate qualified buyers a lot faster, and that's primarily what I do. Um, Once I get the word out, we will see how much interest there is in your home. Then I can help you negotiate any repairs, counteroffers, any costs that you aren't comfortable with. And then me and my team, again, you're selling this locate, negotiate, facilitate. The only difference with locate, negotiate, and facilitate between buyers and sellers is that with locating for buyers, you're locating homes. With you're locating for sellers, you're locating buyers. So it's a pretty interesting combination. But again, the elevator speech works no matter what. My primary goal outside of locating, negotiating, facilitating is to educate you on this entire process. So when we sit down and have a listing strategy meeting, that's some of the things we can talk about. And then when you list your current home with us, we can give a substantial discount on your new home. Fair enough? So that you want to use language like that before you get to a yes or no. Just, hey, is this fair? Oh, that's definitely fair. And then from there, you can start working your way into yes or no questions. And it's, so if you, so what has you interested in selling your home? Did you hear about home values going up in San Antonio? No worries. So are you moving out of the area? Has anyone given you good sources from moving companies, a checklist on how to pack your stuff? Are you moving your family? Do you have any pets? I mean, here it sounds more like you're more concerned about them than you trying to just pick up their business. And that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're going to send them a report. Everything else at this point is just building a rapport. Let me ask you, have you had the property on the market before? Did you receive any offers? If yes, what's your asking price? What was your asking price? Do you happen to know what's owed on the mortgage? These are all the things you're going to get answers to, so you can fill out a questionnaire in the folder you're going to build. On the left side, you have the checklist. On the right side, you have the questionnaire. You want to fill this information out so you're very familiar with your client. So when you go and meet with them, you have all the materials you need so that you can forward a lot of stuff to them for the pre-listing appointment and things that you need to have in front of them so they can look at it before you get there and when you get there. So, and also when you leave. So you want to have this entire folder set up and ready to go. And it all starts around having this script set up so that you can read it over and over again until you can have a comfortable conversation with a lot of the important things that are happening in the script. It's like I said, it's not about saying exactly the same thing I say, but I would highly recommend the first time you do this while you're practicing, just go over it verbatim and see how uncomfortable you are so you can know where to change it, line out some things, and then maybe type up your own script. Some people have me laughing because they're like, well, can you change this or change that? And then they look at my whole entire marketing package, which is over 33 pages, and say, well, if you change this, I'm like, well, I don't need to change that. It's right there. It's a great template for you. No one gave me this. I've had people actually ask me who typed up your checklist for you. No one. Every single word in my checklist and my scripts come directly from my brain. There is no one helping me type these things up from, as far as the content. I can get someone to retype them, but the content is mine verbatim. There's nothing that was not thought up or something I haven't gotten from multiple sources and consolidated in my own checklist along with my ways of improving on those processes. So there's nothing stopping anyone that has this information from doing the exact same thing. You want to improve upon the script? Absolutely. If you find a better way, I have no problem with that. But use this as your foundation for getting started. And I think you will see the value of learning how to do it this particular way first. And then you can kind of veer off of that once you're comfortable. You're also going to ask them if they're considered buying a home in the area, because guess what? If they're selling and they're looking to buy, of course you want to be the agent. Lots of people think that they need two different agents to do two different things. You need to let them know by educating them that you're there for both. And after getting the CMA finished, the next step will be to set an appointment to get together and see what the condition of your home is in, determine if there's any features that will make it more valuable so we can determine how to market it based on your time frame to move, and then see if you are happy with the dollar amount you would get at closing. Has anyone done a net sheet calculation for you? Oh, Probably not, right? So these are little things that you bring up. They're not going to know what it is, and that's good. The more they're curious, the more they're going to want to meet with you. So no one's done a CMA for you. No one's done a net sheet calculation for you. No one has ever talked to you about the time frame for moving, the condition of your home. I mean, instead of just saying, I'm going to come over and preview the house, which is what I hear a lot of times they say, what's wrong with educating them on what the exact process is? They can't figure out a net sheet. They don't even know what a CMA is. And even if they do, they're not going to be able to get really accurate values just by going to Zillow. So once you get the information out there, you basically, you let them know we can get together. I'll run all my calculations and let you know what I come up with when I meet you this week. So is Thursday or Friday better for you? Morning or afternoon? Maybe evening? Well, 10 or 2? No, those aren't going to work. We don't get off work till 5. We'll probably be available around 6. Well, okay, 6 o'clock on Thursday. Sounds like a plan. So while I'm there, we can also discuss what area you'd like to move to, and I can start looking for properties that match your criteria and save you the headache of having to find out all the properties are on the internet may no longer be available. So as a realtor, we have access to the most up-to-date inventory. This time of year, you have to be a little bit more aggressive with offers as they are way more buyers than there is inventory. So it's good to have help with this process, and that's what I'm here for. So I will see you at your home Thursday, 10 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening, and you can expect an email from me to remind you. Okay? All right, great. Take care and goodbye. So again, it's all about using the script to help you understand what needs to be said to sellers so that they are triggered to want to work with you. Can you change the language around? Absolutely, but just do it a few times so you can kind of see what's going on from the other perspective and watch their reaction. But like I said, the main thing you got to do to get their attention is ask if they have a few minutes and then slow everything down. If it feels like you've been on the phone for an hour, I can pretty much guarantee you it probably means you've been on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes. I've had people say it felt like I was on the phone for 30 minutes. I was on for too long. I'm like, I looked at my watch when they started and I looked when they were done. I'm like, you've been on the phone for 8 minutes. They rushed the client off the phone and they didn't understand why the person didn't want to talk to them again. And it was just them being nervous, thinking that the person didn't want to hear from them. But you got to remember, if you're getting these leads without having to cold call, they're looking for help. They're people who put their name, phone number, and email somewhere to have someone call them and to have someone respond to them when they call. So I think the scariest part about people who've been under certain brokers who really, really push the prospecting, they get really paranoid on the phone and they forget that the people they're talking to using the strategies I use to generate leads, these people are looking for you. They're not running from you. But when you prospect using the technique that people use for cold calling, where you're just going in and calling expireds and you go on the white pages and you just dial numbers, dialing for dollars, when you do that technique over and over again, you start getting a little bit gun shy over the phone. And then when you're on the phone, you think you're talking too long because you're used to people wanting to get off the phone because they don't know why you called them. This is a totally different animal. You have to get used to talking to people and understanding that maybe you're a little gun shy because you developed some bad habits from another broker. But this is the new age way to talk to people, get comfortable, share the information, let them know that you're there to help them and negotiate, facilitate, locate, and educate them. And the most important part is the education. If you're worried about Zillow taking over your business, it's because you're too focused on the location part and not reminding your clients that you're there to help educate, facilitate, and negotiate on their behalf. So if you're not going to do those other three things and you spend all your time trying to convince them that you can find properties better than Zillow can, you're going to lose that battle every time. And the easiest way to win that battle is by letting Zillow be your advocate. Sure, that's the best way you can find properties, and other people are going to be looking for you in Zillow. So I'm going to make sure I take care of that part as well. Yeah, I'm going to put them on the MLS, get you on Zillow. But in addition to that, we're going to get your property marketed through my 23-step marketing campaign, and it's 8-week revolving, so we can make sure we price it properly based on the timing of you wanting to be here and not be here. And if that doesn't meet out, then I have a strategy that I use that'll get you to the next level. And I will definitely talk about that strategy when you get to the section here in the next module. Actually, it'll be the module labeled, or the fourth module labeled doing a world-class listing presentation. I will get into everything from the triple option tested campaign strategy, why net sheets are most important or critical part of the presentation, how to do those CMAs that I talked about, and my 23-step, 23-point digital marketing strategy. So all those will come up in the fourth module. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about nurturing your leads with automation, the 8 touches in 3 days. And I will see you in the next module and the next video.